All right. It's Saturday night, and I'm here in front of a microphone with you
This is a good time. Where else would I rather be, right?
right here, right now.
Exactly. In
Glad
the
to have
present.
you. This is my friend Josh. Josh and I, we used to work at a shoe store way, way long ago, and that's how we met.
Crazy. I was talking to a friend about it today. It's like, how long ago did I meet Jesse? And I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
So not to date myself too much there, but it was a minute ago. We're talking, well, like, I don't know, 14 years ago, basically at this point.
Yeah. I was 17 or 18 years old at the time.
We were just young bucks. We didn't know anything about the world at that point, did we?
We didn't. We didn't. You came in wearing your goofy Doc Martens and your high waters, and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with the
you
white
found your
socks
way.
even. Yeah,
Yeah.
white socks and everything. Absolutely.
Yeah, we worked together, and then you end up getting promoted to going to Iowa, and I had stayed in Blaine and kind of did a little bit of a career change myself. And we both have kind of lived different lives for over a decade, different states, miles away from each other. Maybe caught up once or twice along the way, but actually just recently, we reconnected. I don't know, about 3, 4 weeks ago, and I felt it was a good idea to get you on here and just catch up some more.
Dude, I'm so excited. It was a crazy experience we both have been through and where we are today. I would definitely say uh I remember hearing you talk about it in another podcast of yours, but coincidence. There's no such thing as a coincidence, man. Like
Yeah,
there's a reason for all this, man.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So you were telling me a little bit about your trip that you had just recently gone on. You went to Colorado to go to a Red Rock show with Prof and I think it was Norman Sand. Was there anybody else that was there? Anyone?
Oh yeah, there was a few others. That Mexican OT, Danny Brown, JPEG Mafia. It was cool. Definitely Red Rocks was a it was a crazy venue. I had to do a little research to figure out like how long has this place been a venue, and I did a little digging. We're pushing almost 100 years at the Red Rocks. Just imagine
Wow,
100 years ago what was playing there. It was cool just to think about the nostalgia behind it all. It's definitely worth the trip.
something I'm gonna have to do. I haven't done it yet in my lifetime. Sounds fun.
Everybody needs to go to Red Rocks at least once. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And then you were telling me about your tattoo that you got, as well as the disc golf up in the mountains. Tell the listeners a little bit about your experience.
Oh man, it was super enlightening. So I was doing some hiking. I got a chance to hike just west of Morrison, and got to go see some like old ruins, some houses that were built at the top of a mountain, and it was just crazy to think about the people just hiking rocks and equipment up there, 100
Yeah,
years ago. So it was pretty cool, just kind of standing in the middle of it, and I got a chance to kind of just sit and reflect a bit at the top of this mountain, and it was crazy just to sit above the clouds and to look down at the world and just really reflect on kind of where we are today and just to be that much closer to God, right? And like and just
yeah.
I don't know, it was crazy. And so yeah, I had a chance to do that, had a chance to play disc golf at the top of a mountain, one of like the top 25 courses in the world, two years in a row even. It was awesome. Got a chance to meet some new people playing disc golf that are coming to Minnesota in a couple weeks even. So it'd be cool to meet back up with them.
That's cool. How long have you been playing disc golf?
Oh, well, serious. I've been playing more serious over the last 3 years. I use it as my kind of my escape. I was just talking with somebody about it today. It's a bit of my therapy. It's getting me out in the woods. I live in the Minneapolis area and there's not a ton of woods around here. And so
Yeah.
you get to find all these little hidden spots that are in the middle of nowhere that you wouldn't even guess that there's a course in. And so yeah, I've been playing for 3 years, kind of like competitively, I guess you would call it. Not nothing crazy, right? But I'm actually playing another tournament tomorrow. Of I don't know, last year I played like 10 or 11 different tournaments, and
Wow.
my friend group is all involved around like the people that I met at these tournaments and how we can kind of connect. And it's kind of crazy to think about all these people just that I've met, and we all still connect over disc golf, and we play a couple times a month, whenever we have some free time. And it's we take our time to catch up and play some disc golf on at some tournaments too. So it's pretty cool. I definitely I use it more to meet people and meet friends of similar kind of mindset that enjoy some nature and enjoy throwing pieces of plastic out in the air like little kids, right?
Yeah.
It's fun. It's definitely something that's turned into a passion of mine, and it can be really frustrating, but it's definitely super fun. I hit my first ace 2 weeks ago and in the middle of a tournament even. So that was wild, like hole in one in disc golf terms, right? So it was
I've never played and I've always been terrible at throwing a frisbee. So I think it would be pretty brutal, but the hiking part of it, that hiking in Colorado sounds so cool to me. I've been actually doing a ton here. There's a park called Pike Island in just about south Minneapolis over by Richfield. It's about
okay.
18 miles. It's the island of the Mississippi around Fort Snelling.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, and I've been doing that. I've done that about 4 or 5 times in the last 2 weeks, roughly about 10 to 15 miles, and it's just a great workout. You get outside. Being outside is just so therapeutic, something that I'm really going to be dedicated to this summer is being outside.
That's awesome. Where else do you want to go do some hiking this summer?
I've been using the internet to find different places here in Minnesota, like the metro, and there actually is quite a few different places that are kind of tucked away throughout Minneapolis that you would just never guess that it's like right around the metro area. Now, I haven't gone to any of the others yet. I wanted to kind of complete this Pike Island park altogether, search every end of it, so to speak. And
Cool.
I'm just about done with it, even though I've racked up about 45 miles there, but I feel like there's still some trails that I haven't covered yet. So,
That's
um,
awesome. A
yeah,
lot of little offshoots and like little loops
a ton,
around.
a ton, and there's some inclines that are like about 15 degrees, so you can really get a good burn, especially if you do it backwards. Have you ever walked up a hill backwards?
No, I have not, but it's definitely, I might have to just try it just to see what you're talking about. I know the downhill for me when I was out hiking in Colorado kicked my ass way more than the uphill. I've been training inclines on the treadmill and I felt like I crushed this. I don't know, it probably ended up being like a 3 mile hike up this trail in Colorado Springs, and it was easy. And then the downhill, the burn coming down was unreal. I was like kind of almost like bitching out a little bit, like, oh man, I'm on fire right now. This is nuts. I would have thought the uphill was the hard part, but the downhill got me.
I imagine people looking at me and my buddy when we go up it backwards and then we walk back down it and do it again and then do it again. I gotta imagine people looking at us like you fucking idiots.
Like, oh man, what is
Good
going on
workout.
with these guys?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
they're lost, maybe.
yeah. Just loving life. And how many another comment we that you often get whenever you're at a park is you're wearing shorts and a t-shirt somewhere and it's like let's say 55 degrees and there's like an old couple and an old lady always has to say, "We're wearing 3 layers and those boys are wearing t-shirts and shorts." It's like, is your comment really necessary? I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm a 30-year-old man here.
I'm sweating right now. Can't you tell I'm
Yeah.
warm enough in what I'm wearing? Exactly. Like, yeah, they've everybody's always got some kind of smart comment other than like, hey, good for you for working out, for getting it in. Like,
Yeah.
no, they just got to try to like make some like
Tear you
maybe they're
down.
jealous, right? Maybe they wish they were a little warmer blooded or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I should have given her a hug after she said it. That's what I
Yeah,
should
exactly. Oh, are you cold? Yeah, let me just give you a big hug here,
have.
obviously. Oh man, I love that. No, I'll have to try the backwards
Do it.
down a hill.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now it's a part of my bucket list. I'm working on checking off lists. Yeah, one thing at a time. Now you just added to it. So,
What's the next thing?
oh man, it's getting a little crazier right now. I'm thinking like skydiving is right up there.
Okay. Okay.
I had a chance this morning to do my first like group fitness class. I kind of got roped into it went there for a little therapy at like 8 o'clock this morning and got done, I don't know, almost quarter to nine. Just like I said, just a good run, light, light lifting, some body weight exercise type stuff. And then one of the trainers there was like, "Hey, Josh, are you going to join this class?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do this." I'm like, "Oh, how bad am I going to get killed with this?" And I definitely got killed for sure. It was definitely like a circuit training, and
Okay, like a CrossFit
it,
even.
yeah, it was a little CrossFit-ish. I don't
Mhm.
even know how to explain it. It absolutely burnt me out. It was like, all right, this felt good though, because it was a group of all women, and then it was me over there just struggling, just
Good idea. Good idea. It's a good way to meet some.
well, I couldn't pass it up. I definitely, yeah, the trainer, she's she's pretty good looking. So I had to just like, I can't say no. I'm kind of in the mode of not saying no to things either, too. So it's like, if
That's
an opportunity comes, just see what happens, because who knows if you're actually going to enjoy it or not until you try it. Because I lived too long in like an anxiety or fear of like trying new things. I was so trapped in like a same kind of like cycle over and over again of doing the same repetition every day. And I'm like, now I'm going to do as many new things, say yes to as much as I can. That was a part of that trip and the tattoo. And I even have done like some like stand-up comedy at an open mic.
yeah.
I've done karaoke. Man, I can't even. It's definitely, the list goes on like just things I just why say no? Just say yeah. Who knows if you're gonna find your new passion, right?
Right, right. Yeah. You should share this episode with the teacher so you can
Man,
subliminally tell her that you just called her a babe. There's your way.
that it wouldn't even be subliminal. It would be
No,
straight up.
it's
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
straightforward now you say it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I definitely try to shoot a shot, but I got a little nervous because then I've got to see this gal at the gym all the time. So it's like
Yeah, don't
just a
crap her
little
eat.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh, are you hungry too? Let's go grab a little breakfast or something." She's like,
A
"Oh,
smoothie.
I gotta get my workout in too." I'm like, "Oh, all right,
Yeah.
I got you. I'll see you next time though."
Yeah, that might I've never even thought of that as a way to maybe meet some ladies is just go to a gym and like join a class, you know.
Class.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. I've tried to shoot a shot like and have little small talk with some other chicks at the gym, and it's not the place. They're in a different
No.
zone.
No.
And then you got to
Yeah.
see them all the time too, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It's never
not
crossed my mind there, but
definitely. I've thought about like a
good place though.
oh,
Like
fantastic.
healthy people, right?
That's exactly it. That's kind of like a part of my deal breakers nowadays in finding my next partner is like someone that's physically active, someone that's willing to kind of hit that gym with me. And I don't need someone to be my gym partner, but like willing to actually get after it a little bit too. So, because someone that's healthy is, you got a little longer life, you know?
You got a lot of pride. Pride's a big one. And
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
carries over from the gym to home, you know, as far as upkeep when it
Yeah.
comes to things around the house and having an active relationship. I've learned this firsthand is the best kind of relationship because when you just sit around and watch TV all the time, things really become stale.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, man. It's a part of that cycle, it's that same repeat. You get home, you make dinner, you put kids to bed, you sit around the TV, and then one of you are on a phone and the other one's watching some kind of show. And man, my TV doesn't go on nearly as much as it used to. It's pretty rare the TV actually gets turned on nowadays, that's for sure.
It's funny too when you know how TVs they they flash even though it's the same screen, so to speak. It's like really rapid. You know, if you think of like a film, because the it's like multiple pictures over and over again.
Yeah.
I've always kind of felt like maybe certain networking channels in between those films have messages in them to keep you drawn to the screen.
Oh,
It,
it's all
it's got
so addictive.
when you say
Everything.
television, is tele is a base word to what is telepathic, maybe some sort of
Mm.
hypnosis, you know?
Mm, I
Yeah.
like that. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's something I've always wondered about because so many people are like addicted to even like a blue screen. For instance, I've seen the debate between phones should really have red screens rather than blue because blue is addictive to our eyes.
Hmm.
Uh, it would be interesting to have a red screen. It feels like red is such a an abrasive color to see all the time, and that might actually be why the phone screen should be red.
Absolutely, yeah, to make you not want to look at them nearly as
Yeah,
much. I could definitely see that, right? Because of like the color itself. Red definitely signifies like that, I don't know, not to say like anger, but it's just like a stop, right? Like just
yeah,
a, it's not one of those calming colors that a person wants to continue to watch. I
yeah,
like that. I,
yeah.
the only thing I'm thinking of, like this whole time you've been saying that, I feel like there was a movie, and I want to say maybe, I don't know, I shouldn't quote it, but I don't know, like a Fight Club or something where this guy was cutting in chunks in between the film of like himself naked, right? And it's like all of a sudden, like you, if, and then you start seeing flashes of it towards the end. And I feel like one time I'm like, I wonder if that's really what it is. And sure enough, it was just penis basically at that point. And it was like, oh, all right. I want to say it was Fight Club, or I don't even know
Really?
which one it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
definitely, it's like just kind of one of those funny. If it's a movie, it has to be funny for me. It just, I'm not all about the super serious movies.
No, no, I'm the same way. It's really hard. I don't want to say that I can't pay attention to something, but I don't think I want to pay attention to 2 hours of a movie unless it has one of two things: really good comedy that can keep me laughing the whole time, or the second one is if it's based on a true story and it's actually pretty factual. I
Absolutely.
love those.
You learn something. You kind
Yeah.
of almost pick something up from it, and
Yeah.
like, wow, that you got a little deeper look at like I don't even know, like Ford versus Ferrari type of deal, right? Like you actually get
Yeah. Yeah.
little in-depth look, but it's kind of dramatized, so it kind of keeps you hooked, but you still learned a little something about
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely I can get behind that. Absolutely.
The one that I have watched recently, really the only TV show I've watched is The Legend of Wyatt Earp on Netflix. Have you ever heard of Wyatt Earp before?
Yes, actually, yeah.
He's a sheriff or a deputy in Tombstone in the 1880s, and it's a crazy story. I'll spoil a little bit of it for you, but essentially he got into a gunfight with some cowboys. I guess cowboys were gangsters in the 80s. Did you know that cowboys were actually gangsters?
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't, but when
I
you
thought a
say that
cowboy was just a
too.
cowboy.
Yeah, yeah,
But
right.
it turns out that cowboys stole cattle and sold it to Chicago. Down in the
Mm.
South, it was $3 a cow. In Chicago, it was 60. So what they were doing is they were stealing cows and bringing them up to Chicago, Minnesota, and selling it to butchers for $60, making
Oh,
tons
okay.
of money. And then they started robbing stagecoaches, and this is kind of where Wyatt Earp comes in. So Wyatt Earp gets into this gun battle with these cowboys in town, and there was no witnesses, and the cowboys ended up turning it around politically on the deputies and blaming the deputies for the murder of the innocent cowboys. Like the cowboys didn't fight back. Wyatt Earp just killed them in cold blood. And this was kind of like the beginning of the whole controlling the media thing, because then all the newspapers were saying uh, these police officers gunned down these cowboys. So, anyways, the head marshal or the sheriff uh, came into town, and he had the deputies' backs. He was backing them up, and he was saying, "No, no, these guys were legit. The Cowboys fired first. They fired back. It was justice, right?"
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Wyatt Earp, one of the deputies, was sleeping with the sheriff's wife this whole time. The sheriff found out and ended up arresting Wyatt Earp for killing those cowboys in cold blood.
What? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's a fucking crazy story, and it was back in the 80s. And anyways, he ends up Wyatt. We the have one of the episodes is Wyatt Earp being in court, and the process of what the lawyer had to do to get him off, and then the remaining career of Wyatt Earp was hunting cowboys because the cowboys killed two of his brothers, and actually
Okay.
Wells Fargo hired him to protect their cargo from town to town, and
Wow.
he ended
Like a
up killing
bodyguard.
yeah, and he ended up killing so many cowboys that the Wells Fargo was like, we have to distance ourselves from this because it became like a slaughter. Like he was
Huh.
that he was that good in the West.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Makes me want to get Netflix again. I've been kind of like stingy on my streaming services. It's
I
just
know. I
Hulu
know.
and because it comes with Disney Plus. Like,
For the kids. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, right. But no, I feel like I visited did Dodge City, Kansas, was that involved with Wyatt Earp at
Wyatt,
all?
that's where Wyatt Earp went after he fled Tombstone because when Wells
Okay.
Fargo and all them were like, we're done with you, he had to leave town and that's where he went.
Gotcha. I had a chance to visit. So I lived down in Kansas for a little bit with that shoe store that we were mentioning,
Yeah.
in Garden City. And it was only, I don't even know, I'd say probably like a 60-mile drive, which is pretty close for Kansas out there. Everything was so far away.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had a chance to like go through like an old town and kind of went through like the history of Dodge. Was it Dodge City? I think it was Dodge
I
City.
think it's
And
Dodge
like,
City. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's where he's buried too. I feel like I seen his like
Yep.
his grave, Wyatt Earp's grave out there. It's funny that you bring that up. So that's why I was like, yeah, I know that name, but I didn't know the true history. Well, I probably read it on a plaque out there, but I totally
Yeah.
had forgotten it.
It's a great story. And it's like an episode where the actors are acting, but then the historians are narrating the story.
Okay.
So I think Netflix does the best documentaries in general. Whenever you want to watch some sort of historic documentary or show, they just do such a banger of a job.
I definitely get behind a lot of like the Netflix documentaries. For me, it ends up like leaning towards like I'm not political or anything in any kind of way, but it ends up being like these environmental type documentaries. I think one of them was like kind of blew my mind. It was like the whole like why are we so focused on plastic straws when there's so like when there's so many other issues, and the biggest issue that's polluting the ocean right now from what I learned off of Netflix, which maybe I need to do a little fact check before I put it all out in the world, but it's like it's actually the commercial fishing industry that's polluting most of the ocean with all of their commercial nets that get abandoned out there. And it's like
Oh,
we're over here focusing on plastic straws of all things. And
yeah.
what are they wrapped in? Plastic wrapper. You know, the now the paper straws are wrapped in plastic, right? Like what the fuck? Oh, so and that's the other thing, like not to go too off topic, but like out in Colorado, they're very like strict about their bags out in
Yeah.
Colorado. Like there's a bag tax. You got to say how many bags you grab, and they're very cautious about plastic
Control
bags.
it. Control
Yeah,
the
and you
bags.
get here to Minnesota, it's like, oh, take as many as you want. We don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, especially at Menards, you gotta grab at least 15. They're
Exactly. All of them.
the
Yeah,
best plastic
exactly.
bags.
Yeah, you get one bag per item, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Out in Colorado, you get looked at funny for double bagging your gallon of milk, because you don't want it to dump out all over the parking lot. Here
Right.
it's, oh yeah, triple bag that thing. Make sure it stays safe, right? And it's precious cargo. Oh, that's
That's funny.
awesome.
I love
But yeah,
that.
no, definitely the documentaries on Netflix. I definitely get behind. It's like I definitely would say that was one, or like I remember one talking about all kinds of different situations in the world, and the one that really blew my mind was like how disposable our society feels about like clothing specifically. Like
Yeah. Right.
clothes have become so cheap and it's just worn once and thrown away because it's gotten so cheap. And like all of these clothes that are getting donated to Goodwill for the most part are getting dumped in other countries like Haiti, and they're just piling up on their shores. And it's like we're just throwing our trash into places in other countries so it's out of our issue. And it's like, yeah, it's great. It definitely, like I said, I should do some more fact checking on any of this. Don't believe everything you see on Netflix, but
Right.
I'm gonna believe some of it. I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it with my own two eyes on Netflix. So it
You
has.
ever seen Don't Fuck with Cats? You ever seen that?
Oh, I definitely started it, but I definitely was like, okay. Once I kind of got the gist of it, it was like, I
That's
don't, I'm not.
pretty crazy story. That dude killed those cats, and a bunch of people that love cats watched that video and ended up tracking him down based on the outlets in his bedroom. Like what part of the world has their outlets and like this in their bedroom? And then they narrowed it down to like 500-mile radius, and then they said something like, okay, so most doors have a certain type of doorknob in this region, and they narrowed it down to another 200 miles. And anyways, they ended up tracking this dude down just based on the things that were in his bedroom.
Wow.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
probably could have been a lot quicker way of doing all of that. Like other than trying to figure out where the outlets, where this kind of outlet is and what kind of doorknob he's got. Like, they got things like tracking IP addresses and stuff. Why don't we just hire someone real smart and just go directly towards that house instead of like knocking on all this neighborhood? Like, I could imagine people knocking on these other neighbors, like, oh, they've narrowed it down to now let's call it 100 miles or even 50 miles. Like, that's a lot of houses in a 50-mile radius that now you got to try to look. Maybe they could have just asked Chat GPT and that would have maybe like got them directly there.
I think this was like 1999 or something like that.
Okay, all right,
But
fair.
still, they probably could have tracked down on the IP still. It was probably still possible.
Definitely, I'm sure.
So,
I'm sure there's probably even more possible because at that point they probably didn't have as many like ways of blocking it. People weren't
encryption.
that
Yeah, there wasn't as much
smart.
encryption, right?
Yeah, that smart with the internet and everything else. This dude was obviously an idiot for what he did, right? Like
Yeah.
had only a couple brain cells left, and that's what it took to do what he did.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely when I started watching that, I saw what happened. I go,
Can't
no,
watch it. Yeah, it was
I
brutal.
can't.
It was brutal.
I can't do that.
I,
I'm too
I
much of an animal lover. I'm not a cat guy.
no.
I'm a dog person. Mine over here is throwing a pillow around as we speak, just getting crazy. But
Even
I
he's mad
can't.
about those cats dying.
He's definitely frustrated.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
The dude probably
oh,
had dial-up.
oh yeah, guaranteed. Yeah,
Super easy.
exactly.
Super
It's
easy. You get the
oh
the the
I
phone sound and the fax machine sound when you're loading up onto the internet.
well, and then like even thinking about like when you're like if you were on the phone talking with somebody as you were trying to
Yeah.
dial, you could hear them talking through like your computer.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was well, and even like I don't even know. It was kind of a funny story about dial up. So when we were working at the shoe store, right? That was like the last place I
Oh
think Trade
yeah.
Home was legitimately the last place on earth to use dial up internet.
I remember that now that you say that.
Literally the very last place on earth to use any kind of dial-up internet. And I remember this kid, and he wasn't real young. He was old enough to kind of realize maybe 10 to 12. And he asked like, what's that noise? I'm like, oh, it's dial-up internet, right? And I'm like, okay, well, how do I compare dial-up internet to maybe something he knows?
Hmm.
And so I go, it's like VHS and DVD, it's evolved. And this kid looks at me and goes, what's a VHS? I'm like, okay,
Listen
okay.
here, fucker.
Yeah, right. I don't have any other comparisons for you at this point. But yeah, I think that shoe store was literally the last place on earth using any kind of dial-up internet. I think they had to pay extra for the dial-up compared to actually like whatever we're at now. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's funny.
they should have. That's ridiculous. Just
I think yeah, just it
so
was
bad.
only oh gosh, I think it was probably only a couple years before I left that they were still using it. And I'm thinking that was probably right around 2015.
Wow.
So yeah, they were still using dial up. They were just rocking it. It was consistently slow, but it worked,
Look
right?
at what we're at now with 5G and Xfinity having 10G.
10G is just all the waves, all the
Yeah.
radiation in the world.
All the radiation you need. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to further your sicknesses and cancers, throw that modem in your bedroom.
Exactly. I'm just gonna cuddle it now. Actually, now that
Yeah.
you say that, yeah, just get some really good sleep.
Oh,
I was downtown Minneapolis and I was like in the heart of it. Like I was at US Bank Stadium, right? Like of all places, heart of Minneapolis,
yeah.
and literally had no service with AT&T. I don't know. I've got two phones. One of them had zero service. And I was just blown away that we're in a metro area and I'm on LTE out of all places. Like how have we come so far? The best part now that I say this, I was literally at the top of that mountain, right? Out in
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yeah.
I had 5G service somehow. There was some signal coming down. I probably had better service there than I did downtown Denver for
Yeah.
some reason.
Right.
It's
That,
wild.
that is wild when you
It
think
was
about it.
I
Yeah.
was shocked actually when I actually realized it. I'm like, how do I have better service at the top of this mountain with not a single house or road within I don't even know. It got pretty pretty hillbilly. It got pretty backwoods pretty fast. You know, these
Appalachian
houses.
state style.
Yeah, definitely. There
Yeah,
was goats walking across the road and everything,
fun.
right? So yeah, no, it but I had bars out on the top of this mountain. I was like I could have had a full conversation with somebody. I could have done this right here and it could have happened and I couldn't have
Nice
done that
setting.
probably in Denver. So
Yeah. Now you had said when you were out in Denver, you had or out in Colorado, you had an enlightening moment. You were
yeah.
at the top of that mountain. What was that?
For me, a little backstory, I guess. I separated from my wife 7 months ago now. We were together for like 11 years. We were married for 5 years towards right, I don't know, at this point. And we got engaged actually out in Colorado. And so for me, this trip, like it could have been like a really fun trip, but it was fun, but I took it as a way to close a chapter as well too. So that was where the chapter started. And I chose to go out there on this trip um, and close that chapter and put that chapter of my life behind me. And so while I was up there at the top of this mountain, sitting on these ruins and just kind of reflecting back at life, I was sitting there just looking out, and I was above the clouds, and it just really reminded me like how much closer I am to God at that point. Like I said, I've become pretty faithful here recently, and it was nice to be able to kind of breathe in that fresh air at the top of this mountain and just like look back and say, hey, you did everything you could, you did everything you needed to, and there's a purpose for all this. And
Yeah.
it was the other kind of like enlightening or empowering part for me while I was out there is that I used to smoke a lot of weed, right? I used to use it to cope with my anxiety and my depression and uh, just kind of I don't know, soften the edges of life. And while I was out there, one place that most people would go to smoke a lot of weed, I didn't while I was out there. Yeah, I little puff at the concert. I did that. Everybody has a. It's okay to do it
As a treat,
as a treat, but
reward. Yeah.
not the way I was doing it, not the way to
Right.
drown feelings and the way to just make myself emotionless to how really the world was going. And so, yeah, while I was out there, I had this experience at the top of the mountain, and I felt so good, and because I wasn't stoned while I was doing it, and I had a chance to kind of just say goodbye to that part of my life and kind of just know that I'm coming back to a whole new me, and it was it was crazy. It definitely like when I got back, I definitely it took me a couple days to process it, and I definitely like I've noticed is since I've quit, I can feel everything now. I feel all of these emotions that I just never did, and definitely have done some crying and some meditating and just really like reflected on now how I can feel. And
Yeah.
it was crazy, but it felt good to know that I put that chapter behind me. And now it's definitely still not as easy, but it's
Yeah.
getting easier every day. When you're together with somebody for that long, it's not going to end in 7 months, but it's where I feel I am today comparison to some people that would just sit in sorrow, sit and wallow about that person leaving them and
Yeah.
just do that for years and hoping that they're going to come back and hoping that they can see that change in you. I'm doing all these changes for me so then I can be better for my kids and be better for my future family and putting like my differences aside. And there's a lot of things that I've done here since that to bring my life back together and it feels so good.
It's good to have a break from substances to, like you said, face those emotions. Because it is a numbing, it is a soften the edges, as you said, and the fact that you were able to accomplish something like climbing that mountain
Yeah.
instead of figuratively, literally, you climbed the mountain sober and
Yeah.
you got to the top and you got that reward. That's a huge accomplishment, and it's something to be proud of. I mean, something that I do now that I have done for the last 9 weeks is every single morning when I wake up, I make my bed. and
Yeah.
I'm done. Like I just finished something. I literally my first 5 minutes of being awake, I just accomplished something. And there's nothing better than laying in a bed with that's already made because it's so much more
Right.
comfortable. You sleep
Absolutely.
better.
Absolutely. There's a
Yeah.
something I kind of adopted from some another there was another podcast that I heard it on, and it's called micro wins, right? And these micro wins all add up to create a even bigger win,
Mhm.
and to create these like empowering moments. And yeah, just look at everything. Hey, hey, put you on that. He's getting reckless with that pillow now. I could just hear him picking away. It's gonna be in shreds if I didn't just stop him. So it was fantastic. But micro wins. And so I've definitely adopted it in way of like breaking things down to like smaller accomplishments, like you said, making that bed, but then also like a daily routine of like, something as simple as brushing my teeth,
Mhm.
shaving up my beard,
Yeah.
putting on some kind of moisturizer, and just kind of taking care of my skin. And then it goes to like the dishes, right? Like some people would just look at like the dishes as a win. I break that down to like loading the dishwasher, unloading the dishwasher, and just all these other little bits of it. So then it just, I don't know, feels more
You're stacking them.
empowering.
Yeah.
It just, all these little wins can add up and make you feel just so much better. And that's something I've definitely adopted. I need to get better about making my bed though. I was doing really good at it for a while, and
Yeah.
then just started slacking. But I love the micro win. That's for sure.
I think part of coping and getting over a divorce or over a separation is gratitude and thankfulness. At this point, I'm thankful and I have a lot of gratitude to my ex-wife for leaving me. And
Yes.
I the way that I mean that is I feel so much better now. And somebody figuratively speaking has to pull the trigger, I guess. And when the trigger was pulled, it created a low point where I bounced off the ground, then
Yeah.
bounced again. And now, I'm only on the way up. And I think that's a really big part of getting over somebody is being thankful for them for the relationship and the years that they gave you, but also thankful for thank you for allowing me to leave and grow,
Yes.
and it's not about getting back at them in any way. That's not what I mean by thankfulness. It literally it's a genuine thank you for allowing me to grow because I wouldn't be where I am right now if that wouldn't have happened. You're stuck in this
110%.
loop, stuck in that loop.
Yes. I've got another buddy of mine that I was talking to about this exact same thing. And, eventually, I'm going to write a letter to my ex and just thanking her for the divorce, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like, I would have never gotten into my physical fitness. I would have never gotten out of my anxiety filled like bubble of like being in this introvert. I would have never been able to reconnect even with you or these other people that have been brought into my life again that I haven't talked with for years. And that I do contribute in a way to God. Like I started praying, after she left, and literally that day, like two people called me that I haven't talked to in months. And it was like his way of like coming down in a physical form because he can't tell me stuff in my ear, right? He's gonna send somebody else to come and talk to me at my
Yeah.
lowest point. I'm sitting there crying and talking to my parents now. Like I haven't really had a great relationship with my parents over the last few years, and I've started to really grow that. So I was talking with my mom and my dad. Then Rodney calls, and man, I was at a low point. He had no idea that's what I needed. I needed Rodney to kind of talk with and give me a different perspective. And
Yeah.
then literally that night, my buddy Darren sent me a Snapchat. Said, "Hey, deer hunting, come up." And it's like, yeah, absolutely, I'll be there. And so it's like these little messages that have started coming in, and all of a sudden other people have started reaching out. And
Yeah.
there's people from high school and people from my old trade home days. And even like I was craziest story, I ended up growing to be like best friends with this guy that grew up with my ex-brother-in-law, and like we both like kind of have this similar experience with my ex-mother-in-law, and that's kind of brought us pretty close together in that way. And it's like again, it's like definitely a super empowering experience to know that God's got my back and He's got a plan for me, and whatever that plan is, just keep on moving forward, because like if I give up today, I'll never really know what that plan is. And if I woke up today, that means there is a plan for me.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a day that I won't wake up, and that means that my plan is over, my mission is over in this world. But if I wake up every day and I'm able to see, hear, breathe, smell all of this, that means there's a mission for me still. And so that's what I'm running with.
It's a good lesson to take with you into the next relationship whenever that comes too, is okay, I'm beginning to learn myself, I'm beginning to love myself, I'm beginning to have faith outside of having only faith in that one person, because that's unfair to them. And then
Yeah,
also keeping those friends in my life regardless of who it is I see. Because if that person can't accept for what my life is at this very moment and my path of growing, and let's say I'm not clicking with their path and growing, then I'm not going to put myself in a situation that's going to bring me backwards, only going to bring me
absolutely.
forward. And I think it's important for this time of healing to really get to know yourself before that next relationship begins, because if you don't know who you are, which I didn't, I got into this whole thing between running away from an ex-girlfriend pregnancy deal, getting married into another girl, getting her pregnant, all at the age of 18 when it all happened.
Yeah,
And I never was single in my 20s. I never knew who I was. I never knew anything about me.
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's been a ride for the last couple of years, really getting to know me. And the first part, the first three quarters of that time, I was in a really low place because I didn't know who I was, and it really was a depressing feeling. So I was lucky enough to have the experience I did to bring me to this place and heal me and create a new me.
Absolutely. There was a conversation I had at last holiday. I'm trying to think. Oh, St. Patrick's Day with all my cousins. I'm the oldest cousin out of this side of the family. And I've got cousins that are like anywhere from, I guess, my youngest cousin's probably right around 19 years old. And then it kind of jumps up a couple years at a time over and over. I looked at him and I kind of was just bullshitting in a kind of a light-hearted way, but a kind of a real serious way, because they seen what I've been through and here recently, and told them like, learn yourself in your 20s.
Hmm.
Don't go chasing into a relationship. Don't, and it's okay if one comes, but make sure you know yourself before you dive so deep and you lose yourself completely, because that's a really important time in your life when you should be really kind of focusing on some of these things to really propel yourself for the future,
Yeah.
instead of trying to settle or try to make yourself somebody you're really not, and make yourself somebody's somebody, right? And
Yeah.
my youngest cousin, he goes, well, what if she's really attractive? And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
Hard.
exactly what got me, man. Don't
Hard.
fall for it.
Hard.
Don't. It's great and all, like have some fun, but make sure you know yourself before you really dive deep into that relationship, and have some good habits, and like find some, like you said, like some good relationships, and like some good coping mechanisms, because that partner that you find isn't going to be able to handle, not to say handle, but they don't need to deal with all
No,
of your
that's not fair
shit.
to them. Yeah.
It's
No.
not at all. Like if you have no idea how to deal with your depression and your anxiety, or your the things that maybe happened to you, your childhood traumas with, relatives, and you're dragging that onto them, and everybody's got stuff, that they're dealing with. And like there was a motto or a quote that I heard was like, if everybody put their problems up in the air and you saw everybody's problems, the chances of you taking your problems are probably the greatest, because everybody is dealing with something. And
Yeah.
if you're not healed from some of that stuff, and you're trying to jump into that relationship, because that person has some stuff that they're dealing with too still.
Yeah.
We all have something. And so yeah, that was definitely huge. It's like, all right, I wouldn't take it back, right? Because of like the experiences in the partnership that I had over the last 11 years and the things that, we did together, my children, would have
Of
never
course,
happened,
of course.
and
Yeah.
this was keeping me, what's really kept me grounded is my kids. And
Yeah.
I fought hard to make sure I've got them 50% of the time. And that wasn't what I had when I was growing up. I had a dad that was every other weekend at best. And he was only there on Sundays because he felt his job was more important than the dealing with us. And this is something I've had a talk with him about, when this all kind of went on, is that basically, I had to tell him how he hurt me and get that off of my chest, and kind of had to be the adult to my dad. And it was pretty tough, but it was again what I needed to grow. And so yeah, definitely like you said, figure out yourself, figure out who you are, and figure out your self-love, because like if you don't even love yourself and you're expecting someone to dump love into you, they're going to run out of love too.
Hmm.
And you got to be, you can't hold it, you can't keep that cycle going forever,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
You want to every minute that you give somebody that you do care about, you want to be able to give them everything you have, and sometimes that tank is empty just from burnout because again, you're dealing with those emotions on a daily basis. So once you have that figured out, you're able to then cope with yourself without emptying that tank, so to speak.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I would say like the biggest thing is that gym. If you're the physical fitness.
And the trainer.
Yes. No, it definitely had not. I think the trainer came once. I think what it is the self confidence that has come from the gym, and the fact of like what I can do while I'm at the gym. And I don't know. It took me a little bit to feel like I was attractive enough, right? Like
Mhm.
for that kind of person or whatever. And so it took that gym to gain that confidence. But then also I use it as like that's my coping. That's probably my best, like most useful coping mechanism is if I'm having a really stressful day, I go run it out. I go do a little treadmill therapy, and I'll go run for anywhere from 15 to 35 minutes, and I'll go do some weights, nothing
Yep.
nothing real wild. I'd like to probably get a little bit more into the weight training, but I just the treadmill has been really like my therapy through the whole thing. And what's happened too is like I remember a time where even just picking up a laundry basket, I threw my back out.
Really? Wow.
I was down for a whole weekend, because I threw my back out from picking up a laundry basket. And
Yeah.
like how
Yeah.
it's because I was unfit. It's because
Hmm.
I was not taking care of myself. It had everything to do with that. Um, I was 260 pounds
Were you really? Wow.
when I moved down here to the South Metro from
Yeah.
up north. And now I'm walking around. It's been a little bit since I stepped on a scale. I've gotten a little comfy with myself, but I'm right around that 215
Good for
to
you.
220. And now I just feel so much better. My back doesn't hurt like it used to. I can pick
Your
up
knees probably feel better.
your knees are feeling pretty, yeah, they're good. It was my back that
Yeah.
really that felt the toll on everything. And so
They say that every additional 5 pounds above your natural body weight adds like 10,000 pounds of pressure onto your knees on a daily basis just from walking, that extra support weight. This is
I think
coming from somebody that naturally has bad knees. And when I was 220, my knees hurt like a son of a bitch all the time. Yeah. But
absolutely.
now that I'm around 175, my knees feel great.
It's
I don't
amazing.
I don't
Like
have that pain.
25, what is that? Like, yeah, you're talking like that 50 pounds, somewhere in
50
45 pounds.
pounds. Yeah, you're talking 50,000 pounds or yeah, 50, 100,000. I'm not good at math. I'm a little bit mean no matter what I say. It's a lot of fucking weight, okay?
Yeah.
It's a lot
It's
of weight.
all, yeah, it's way too much pressure. And it's
Yeah.
amazing how these bits that we've been able to shave off of ourselves have now increased just our stamina and our ability. So then, like you said, to go hiking,
Hmm.
to go out further than you ever have before without coming back and your knees are hurting and your back is hurting or whatever was kind of aching at that point. Because when you start getting into your 30s or close to it, it's you start feeling a lot more than you ever did. And if you can't stay moving and stay active, you all of a sudden start declining so much quicker. And so now it's great. I'll go out and walk, on an average disc golf tournament, it ends up being pretty close to 5 miles. And I don't feel the exhaustion like I used to. And like there was a couple of times in Colorado where I did the hike. I played around a disc golf in the mountains, and then I played around while I was actually in like the lower part of like the foothills in Denver, and I felt awesome. I ended up going out for dinner that night, a little nap in between because
Yeah.
I was a little jet lagged. It was a little.
Maybe have a chicken breast.
Yeah, oh man, I had so much to eat at that point too. Like, yeah, just some good healthy stuff though. Like you
Healthy
said, you're
food.
not just like just eating junk, like the
Mhm.
choices that I had because like that's where that gym, you go out and work out at the gym and you come home and you don't like look at that bowl of ice cream the same way. You go like, man, I just kicked my ass in the gym.
Yeah, now I'm gonna
I'm not gonna go eat a bowl of fucking ice cream.
throw it all away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and so like for now, like nowadays, like I'll end up just grabbing a freaking handful of sliced like lunch meat and some string cheese and some cottage cheese and some water. And like that's my choice. It's all of a sudden like that gym all of a sudden has this domino effect on other choices throughout the day and
Yeah.
how you make those choices. And it's like, okay. And for me too, like I'm trying to quit, but it's like now I don't want to smoke cigarettes like I used to. It's the vape. Yeah, I'm fucking still trying to get off that
Yeah.
thing, but
Addicting. Very addicting.
it is. It's habit. Yeah.
My mother quit smoking, I want to say 12 weeks ago, and she had been smoking for 35 years.
How is she doing with it?
Um, so the when you go online, you say, how do you help cure the craving? Eat sugar. And I'm thinking, bullshit. No, that's not how you're gonna cure your crave. You're gonna cure your crave by getting outside, exercising, praying,
Yeah.
healthy habits. You're still killing your body if you're just eating sugar.
You did.
You know?
That's
Oh,
back to like they're trying to guide you in one. They want to keep you hooked on something because I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like
Smoke cigarettes or eat fucking bowl of cereal, like
yeah,
Lucky Charms. So,
exactly.
um, yeah, and so she's doing okay. She's been having some breathing issues also, so that contributed quite a bit. And my dad and I, we kind of threw down the hammer and said, "Listen, it's time," you know.
Absolutely.
So, uh, it's not easy. I'm watching it firsthand, and there are days that, I think anybody, when you go through a withdrawal, you get short with people, and it's a struggle, but it's going to be better on the other side for sure, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think I heard somebody say this to me. I think it was last week. Okay, let's say you smoke a cigarette, and when you have that craving before you smoke that cigarette, wait 5 minutes, and then
Yeah.
have your cigarette. The next day, wait 10 minutes, and then the next day after that, double it. Now wait 20 minutes, and then before you know it, maybe you're waiting 6 hours.
Yep. Then you forget. Yeah. All of a sudden, like it's out of mind, right? Yeah. The way that I definitely like the way that's kind of helped me whenever I try to really focus on trying to quit those things is like for me it was when it comes to smoking it's like that oral fixation and then the actual like being busy with your hands, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
I drive all day for work, so it's even
Oh,
even more triggering
very,
for me.
yeah, big time,
Like
big time. I
if
can imagine.
if you've ever smoked, like that's the time that a person wants to smoke the most when you're sitting in a car, right? Because what else are you doing? Like, oh, driving and just trying to keep busy. And so like I found that gum, specifically something really like either kind of spicy, so like a cinnamon or like a spearmint. And then that wasn't quite enough. And then I just started doing a grip strengthener
Oh,
on
interesting.
top of it. And so it's like, all right, I got something to do with my hands. And then
Bag
I've
of
got
almonds. You ever done that? Bag of almonds?
Oh man, I crush a bag of fucking almonds like
You could,
it's a bad habit. It's probably not healthy how many
well,
almonds
maybe if
I'm
you
eating.
mix in some cashews and raw Brazil nuts as well, you could
I,
stack those good meals when you're driving and keep
I've
your hands
heard
busy.
something about cashews And again, I probably should do more fact checking before I put this completely out into the world like this. But there
I
is
only have
something.
14 subscribers.
Well, this is out there forever, though. This is gonna get big. This is gonna get huge. So, there is something about, there's like some chemical in cashews that
Mhm.
shares similar properties to like either an antidepressant
Yep.
or yeah, it's like some kind of anti-anxiety. And so yeah, cashews are fucking great. And so that's a
Yeah.
benefit of my job. The benefit and the downfall is I work for a vending company.
Hmm.
And so I get all the snacks and food and drinks and whatever I ever wanted for free. So I could use it as a bad thing and eat honey buns and Snicker bars all day, which I truly try not to.
Yeah.
But then also we have all kinds of varieties of like almonds, all these like the blue diamond, like you have all the flavors of blue diamond, you got cashews, things like that.
There you go.
Gum, I've got all kinds of flavors of gum to kind of switch things up. And
Yeah.
so it gets a little tough because that's the other part of a mission that I'm trying to get on is like try to stay away from like a lot of like the white bread
Oh
and like
yeah. Yeah.
just all that junk shit. And there's a
Eliminate bread altogether if you can. It's just
oh,
a big inflammatory.
I would love to. I definitely thought about that when I was eating dinner today, but then I didn't fall for that. I definitely like I ended up with a pulled pork sandwich and it was
It's
freaking fantastic. But
for
still.
myself, I'm really, really leaning into a cut right now. So every day has been chicken breast or T-bone steaks.
Oof.
And that's hard boiled eggs
Yep.
and then
Hard
just
boiled eggs are great.
protein smoothies, trying to get at least 200 grams of protein a day and stay away from bread. Anything that breaks down sugar and everything that I drink is either water or a biohack, a little cup full of apple cider vinegar into your water. It,
Okay.
anti-inflammatory. Yep. Yep.
I've heard
So,
that before with apple cider vinegar. So
yeah,
how long have you been going without bread?
about 5 weeks.
No bread at all for 5 weeks?
Zero.
How do you
Yeah.
feel now comparison to like you were? I know a lot has changed in 5 weeks, right? But
Yeah.
how does it feel to be without bread?
Well, when I was in Costa Rica, there was a little bit of bread there, but it was non-enriched bread, and when you get enriched flour, it really fucks with focus. So when you
Mm.
like you have that little kid in the morning that you say has ADD and he's bouncing all over the walls, maybe don't feed him the Pop Tart or the toast because it's all enriched flour, and enriched flour affects that folic acid affects like 70% of humans.
Wow.
So it really helps with focus quite a bit. And then also inflammation as far as like my joints go. I had shoulder surgery in February. So
Okay.
without that additional inflammation, it just makes the body ache a little bit less and then also really helps with focus.
Interesting. It's definitely next on my list. Do tortillas count in that?
No tortillas.
No
No.
tortillas.
No starches, no flours, nothing. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to stay away from like the white fluffy breads, like all that.
Especially that.
I
Especially that.
definitely have been steering away from that, but then I'm still a sucker for a breakfast burrito, so I
Oh,
definitely need
so good. I
oh,
haven't had one in so long.
so every day I have one. I'm so thankful for my job because they provide like I get a meal every single day. I thank God for this because it's like
That's
they
nice.
they provide me with my meals,
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch. I make my own dinners at home or whatever. I go out if I don't have kids. It's easier just to go out and pay someone to do my dishes basically, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
um yeah, it's super nice to have like actuals, and I get different kinds. Like I'll have like a hard boiled eggs too, but I do need to try to stay off of the bread. I'm curious to see how my body feels after that.
Give it a shot. It's big, big difference. Yep.
Huh.
Yep. Just and then berries for fruit. Like
Yeah.
if you're late at night like I am and I love snacks as I'm laying in bed instead of a bag of chips, some blueberries and raspberries.
Mm,
Uh,
blueberries are good.
yeah.
Absolutely. Do strawberries count in that too?
Strawberries are fine. Just make sure
Okay.
that you soak them in some vinegar and wash them before you eat them
Oh, okay.
because there's pesticides that are sprayed on fruit. And
Sure.
those are the chemicals that are all over fields that Monsanto sprays. So you just want to make sure that your fruit is clean before you eat it.
Okay. Because I definitely try to have like you said, instead of just some junk when I get home. It's like, all right, try to find something a little healthier. Like I said, I'll end up with some like just some straight lunch meat. No sandwich, just some lunch meat. I'll just
Can I ruin something for you?
oh, that's probably not any. Yeah, absolutely. Please ruin it.
Don't eat lunch meat. It's
Ah,
processed.
is it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Processed meat it causes carcinogens, which causes cancer.
Okay. Everything
So,
freaking causes
so
cancer.
instead, if you like, let's say you like ham, cook a whole ham and then slice it. But
Hmm.
I make sure it's nitrate free ham. And then also, like if you want like a chicken sandwich or something, just cook a rotisserie chicken. You can get a rotisserie chicken at Costco for $5. Use that
Yep.
meat. Use that meat for your sandwich instead.
Okay.
So
I'll start changing out these couple little habits and
give it
just
a
to try
shot.
to, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I'm all about that because it's like I found that there was like another book that I was reading about I've listened to all kinds of books, but one of them it was like this it was like I think it's called The Hero's Journey. It was No More Mr. Nice Guy, kind of a spin-off from that. And it was talking about these things like try to find something to either add or subtract from your life and try that out for 30 days and see how you feel
Yeah.
after that. Do a little touch base
Test
after
it.
that couple of weeks and test it. Just
Yeah. Yep.
just any kind of test like you would. Like, okay, trial and error. Let's see what happens when you put something in, take something out. Now switch that up. Okay. And it could be anything, like you said, from the food. Like I'll try that. Like you said, try to cut out all of the flours and the star and like all of that junk. And then also add more like real meat,
Mm-hmm. Real
and
meat.
see
Yep. Yep.
real. Yeah, exactly. It's a good point. I like that. I've been doing it a lot with my habits and like different things that I used to find that used to make me happy, and like
Yeah.
hobbies, things like that. It's like, all right, subtract one and add another and lean into one a little harder and get rid of one out of my life. Or yeah, so I'm gonna try that out with the food because I feel like that has so much to do with how you feel. And I've already come so far in like getting rid of all these other shitty habits. Now let's try to bump this up the next level and see what
Yeah.
happens next.
This is the first time in my life where I've stuck with a plan, so to speak. Every single time that I've ever encountered any kind of adversity or encountered a hurdle that I just didn't want to jump, I wouldn't finish something and I would give up or quit. And part of that, I don't blame it on my parents, so to speak. But when I was young, if I like karate, for instance, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and they're like, okay, and
Sure.
I think part of that carried over into my adulthood where I would start a project of some sort and it would get hard and I'd be like, all right, I'm done. And this 9 week, almost 10, I guess, um, 10-week regimen that I've been on from Costa Rica, I've had weeks where I look in the mirror and I think I don't look any different. I don't, but I didn't quit.
Yeah,
And now I look at myself compared to what I was 9, 10 weeks ago, and it I'm really, really happy with myself and I'm gonna keep going. And I'm not doing it to win anybody over or make anybody jealous. I'm doing it for myself, and that's the most important part because I think I had the wrong intentions the first time or the
absolutely.
second or third.
Do you have any affirmations or anything that you say to yourself when you kind of start like either feeling a certain way or even a part of that habit? Do you have anything that you say to yourself?
Stop being a fucking pussy and work out.
Yeah,
To be to
absolutely.
be to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
firm
Yeah,
love. Okay. I like that.
I
Yeah,
gotta talk shit to
absolutely.
myself in order for me to get off my ass.
I definitely have added
Uh,
like just telling myself that I love myself, that I'm
yeah,
doing great, that it's just
yeah,
these other little things that maybe I didn't hear enough of or I didn't believe at a certain point.
right.
I definitely need to have a little bit more tough love with myself about certain things, but I definitely, like you said with that gym, like, hey, you can fucking do it. Just push a little harder. You can get in there, go for another. And that was the thing with the gym that I've kind of started with is like, hey, just start with 15 minutes
Mhm.
because there's like some kind of proven there was some kind of fact that again that I read that is like basically 15 minutes boosts your testosterone level,
Yeah,
and if you could just hit that 15 minutes, anything above that is just gravy. Everything above that is just getting you even stronger, getting you even better. And so yeah, sometimes I'm in there for 15 minutes and that's great, but sometimes I'm in there for an hour. Today I was in there for 2 hours
yeah,
today.
yeah.
And it's like, because I went in there because I kind of felt like shit and I just didn't feel, I was mentally just a little off. And I'm like, lean into those healthy habits. Don't just sit around and go watch some TV or smoke some weed or whatever. I don't have any urges to smoke weed anymore like I used to, but it's like, all right, go to the gym. and go hit that and see what happens next. And the day just only got better. And I had some other like kind of moments throughout the day. Like I went out and had a pretty decent breakfast. You know, I had like some country fried chicken, at like a small yeah, like but it was like eggs and
It was
hash
deep
browns,
fried
like
though, wasn't it?
huh?
It's deep fried.
It was great though. It tasted so good. It was smothered in gravy, but I could handle it.
Oh no.
I'm not a small, but it was like in this like it was in a nice like kind of like not a diner. It was a nice like kind of homely little spot. So it was
Yeah.
about
Well, it
probably
was good. It sounds like it tasted good.
it tasted fantastic, and it just kept the day moment. But the best part about that is I ran into my friend Gary at that breakfast joint. We had a little touch base. Like we
Yeah.
had no
Yeah.
idea that we were going to be there.
Yeah.
Again, like it just all right, ran into him, and then like I ended up running into my oh gosh, I don't even know how to explain her, but basically my ex's grandpa's new wife, right? And
Okay.
like
All right. Yeah.
she works at the Quick Trip in town, and she ended up like telling me like, hey, Don's on hospice. He doesn't have much longer on this world. Like he's not doing well. He's lost like 50 pounds in the last 2 months. You should probably go see him. And me and Don had a pretty good relationship, but of course it was around smoking cigarettes. You know, me and him were the only ones in that part of the family that were smoking. So that's kind of how we got to be you know, buddies, kind of just BSing because we were kind of a little outcasts sitting outside smoking our cigarettes.
You form the best bond smoking. My favorite, I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've done a lot of other things. But my favorite thing to do at a bar is to sit out in the smoking patio and talk with the people that are having cigarettes. Those are the best
Absolutely.
conversations.
They fucking truly are. Like I will agree 110%. Because
Yeah.
those are all the people that just they don't really give too many fucks, right? You just
Yeah.
know they're not real uptight dudes, you know, or people, right? Like
Yep.
you just go out there and just bullshit with them, right? And they love it. But yeah, me and Don, I ended up going over to his place because he doesn't live too far from me. And I've stopped in at his place a couple times since the separation, and they've been very clear, like, hey, we have no hatred or hard feelings towards you. We know that you've done everything you needed to, and it just things didn't work. It's okay, right? But you're
Mhm.
more than welcome into this house. And so me and Don had oh man, I would say probably like a 2 hour conversation, 3 hour conversation. He's still over there just fucking smoking. At this point, he knows he's done. So he's like,
Yeah.
all right, fuck it.
Gonna
I'm
go
gonna
down,
smoke
go down
my
swinging.
cigarette. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking smoke my cigarettes. I don't really care. But like I definitely made sure to hear him and listen to him and just try to get so that he had a chance to tell his story to somebody because it didn't sound like you know a lot of people that are his true blood were all that interested in hearing about his story. And so I made sure to like give him that time until he was done. I made sure to hang out there until he was done talking. He had to be the one to say, hey Josh, I'm just getting tired. I'm like, hey, you know what? I appreciate the time. I made sure to give him big love and big hug and tell him I love him, you know, and like
You're
just made
perfect.
sure to try to feel because that's something I have been working on is trying to feel more empathetic or just having more emotions. And so I did really try to empathize with him and about the things that he was going through, you know, and the things that he did go through and had a place to vent to me, had a place to just put that stuff out there in the world so he didn't have to try to carry that on into the next life. And so,
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of a part of what I feel like my mission and my calling is just to hear people and help people and try to change somebody's life for at least a little bit of the better. And so yeah, no, it started off with that and then went out and started just showing like just gratitude and putting good karma out in the world. You know, like I just had these interactions with people at little retail locations that I did my errands at, and because today was a beautiful day, it was like 70 something degrees, and
So
so
perfect.
it really was. But I know you and I both know working in retail.
Yeah.
These are the worst kind of days, right? They're just kind of just like, oh man, you know it's freaking beautiful, and you're stuck in this climate controlled box, and it just sucks, right? And so like kind of making jokes with these people, and they're like, oh, is it nice? No,
No, it
nope, it's
sucks.
terrible.
Yeah.
You're missing out. You know, you're not missing out on anything. Just kind of making just jokes about it, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if someone's wearing a name tag, I'll call them by their name, you know, Pam or Linda or whoever it was to
Yeah.
like just make them feel like I'm present in that moment. And I'm just like, all right, just throw as much good karma out in this world and just be just cheerful and delightful and living with my heart open. Right. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like what I'm trying to do. And I don't know, it's such a silly thing, but I'm like, all right, eventually this is all, there's going to be karma that's going to come back one day to me for this. And it may not be today or whatever. And again, it sounds so silly, but like I lost my favorite disc golf disc like year and probably over a year ago. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And literally on the way home from dinner, I got the text saying somebody found it. And it's like, see, I told you it's karma. Like
I'm
you put
so
it
glad
out
I was
there.
nice to those people in the mall today.
Yeah, I was just so nice and cheerful and delightful. And it's like, this all is going to come back around. I know it in some
Yeah.
way or some form. And sure enough, like, hey, this, and it was just one of these kind of things that I really liked that disc. It was just a special kind of thing. We had a connection, right? And
Right. Right.
no, it came back. It came back today. And so it's like, and then other things like my neighbors, they just had a grandkid here recently, and I've got a bunch of baby stuff sitting around this house. A, I don't want to move it. B, I'm never going to have kids again. So why not just give this away? And so I went over there with like a handful of stuff, this Johnny jumper and this front carrying thing.
Yeah.
And they go, first thing they go, oh my, is that a front facing carrier? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I was just looking for one of those. And is that a Johnny jumper? I'm like, yeah. Oh, we were just, and the wife's like, oh, I was looking for one of those on Marketplace too. And it's like, here, take it.
Yeah.
Take it. She's like, oh, do you want some money for this? No, no. You saved me a headache from trying to move this, trying to get rid of this. Instead
Yeah.
of just donating it to Goodwill for them to go make some money on it,
Yeah.
you take it. Just you take it. Your grandkids and your many grandkids, because this is their first one. They're gonna have a couple more. Who knows? It's that just keep on putting it out there in the world because it'll come back. And that's the way I just been trying to live my life in a way. And it has. It's paid off. And it's crazy. I just can't believe that we're just here just BSing in what we're doing right now. Even this is like incredible. Like it's been so long, right? Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It's nice to see your face. And
Ooh,
I just
right?
want to wrap it up here with you actually and tell you how grateful I am for you and you giving your time today to do this with me. And I think we should do it again soon.
Oh, absolutely. I so look forward to it. And I'll be a regular. I'll definitely let's do these touch bases. If it's a once a month and we could just talk about our wins. We
Once
can
a month,
talk
once a
about the
week.
things that just happen throughout that time because a lot can happen in that month. And so like let's just keep this message going. And I would love that, man.
I,
And then we definitely gotta go hit that hike. Like let's find some places to go
yeah.
hiking.
Yeah.
Let's even plan out a camping trip too. Let's get real close to nature there, man. I definitely would be down.
Okay. Okay. I
Let's do
like it.
something.
I like it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.